The deep black of space stretched endlessly around the starship Odyssey. Its metallic surface gleamed under the light of distant suns, a symbol of human ambition and resilience. Inside, the ship hummed with the quiet rhythm of machinery and the occasional chatter of crew members, each performing their duties with precision. Humanity had long ventured into the stars, exploring, protecting, and sometimes defending civilizations they barely understood. Yet today, the calm of the Odyssey was about to shatter. Captain Mara Ellis stood on the observation deck, her hands clasped behind her back as she gazed at the sensors displaying readings from nearby space. Her dark eyes, sharp and determined, scanned every flicker of information. It had been years since humanity had faced a situation like this. A sudden alert had lit up the ship's main console, and the news had been astonishing. The alien queen's daughter, Lyra, had returned. After decades of disappearance, she was finally back, traveling through the neutral sector near the station Alindra. No one knew exactly why she had disappeared all those years ago. Some said she had been taken by enemies. Others whispered she had hidden herself to escape the political games of her people. Now her return had thrown the galaxy into uncertainty. Alien empires and human colonies alike were watching, waiting to see what this mysterious figure would do. Mara's communicator beeped softly, breaking her thoughts. "Captain Ellis, the Council has authorized your mission." The voice of Commander Ryland came through, calm but firm. "You are to escort and protect Lyra during her journey to Aurelia Prime. Be advised, tensions are high. Rogue factions may attempt to interfere." Mara nodded. "Understood. Prepare a secure transport. I want full shields and defense protocols ready at all times. She will not be harmed under my command." The transport shuttle descended from the Odyssey, gliding toward the neutral station. Mara adjusted her uniform, feeling the familiar weight of responsibility pressing against her shoulders. She had faced dangerous missions before, but escorting the daughter of a galactic queen was an entirely different challenge. This was no ordinary diplomat or civilian. This was a figure whose very presence could ignite wars or alliances, depending on how it was handled. Inside the shuttle, Lyra waited. She was seated with perfect poise, her slender frame almost glowing under the soft light of the cabin. Her silver hair cascaded like a waterfall, and her eyes held a depth that seemed to pierce through space itself. There was something otherworldly about her, a presence that made even seasoned officers feel a strange mixture of awe and caution. "Captain Ellis," Lyra said, her voice smooth and melodic, carrying authority even in its softness. "I'm glad a human is here to escort me." Mara blinked in surprise. "A human? You mean, you trust us?" Lyra tilted her head slightly, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Yes, your kind is unpredictable, clever, and brave in ways my people often fail to be. I believe you will do well." Mara's jaw tightened. She wasn't sure if the compliment was meant to soothe her ego or warn her of the responsibility ahead. Either way, it was clear this was no ordinary mission. The shuttle entered the station's docking bay, and the hum of activity surrounded them. Humans, aliens of all shapes and sizes, and automated service units moved with purpose through the sprawling hub. The moment Lyra stepped out of the shuttle, a hush seemed to sweep through the crowd. Eyes turned, whispers floated across corridors, and even the station's security personnel paused, unsure whether to approach or retreat. Mara kept a steady hand near her sidearm but did not appear threatening. She allowed Lyra to lead the way, understanding that appearances mattered just as much as strategy in this delicate moment. As they moved, Mara couldn't help but notice the subtle signs of tension around them. Shadowy figures lingered at the edges of hallways, and a faint hum of energy indicated cloaked ships ready to strike. Whoever had been watching Lyra's return for years would not wait long to act. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. Red lights bathed the corridors as automated defense systems activated. Mara's instincts took over. "Stay close to me," she ordered. Her voice was calm but commanding. She reached for Lyra's hand, and the young alien's fingers trembled slightly before she allowed herself to be guided. From the shadows emerged attackers unlike any Mara had faced before. Agile, heavily armored, and armed with weapons that could tear through reinforced hulls, they moved with precision. Mara fired her pulse rifle, taking down 2 of them with rapid accuracy. Yet for every attacker that fell, another seemed to appear. The situation was dire, and it was clear these were no ordinary mercenaries. They were highly trained, highly motivated, and dangerous. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes glowing faintly as a wave of energy surged around her. The attackers faltered, their weapons freezing midair as an invisible force pushed them back. Mara's jaw dropped. She had read about alien powers before, but seeing them firsthand was entirely different. Lyra's abilities were extraordinary, yet she did not seem in full control. "Focus!" Mara shouted. "Use your power, but be careful." Lyra nodded, taking a deep breath. She concentrated, and with a swift motion of her hands, she created a protective barrier around them. Sparks flew as weapons collided with the shimmering shield. Mara realized something important. Lyra's power was immense, but without human strategy and quick thinking, it could be wasted or worse, cause harm to innocents. Together, they moved through the station, combining human tactics and alien power. Mara's commands were sharp, concise, and adaptive. She used the environment to their advantage, pushing enemies into choke points and creating traps from debris and automated doors. Lyra amplified these maneuvers with bursts of energy, knocking adversaries off balance and giving humans a chance to neutralize threats. For Mara, the battle was a revelation. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, seen as weaker, slower, or less capable than other advanced species. Yet in this moment, the unpredictable nature of human thinking, combined with courage under pressure, made them uniquely effective. Lyra's trust in humanity was no accident. After a tense series of skirmishes, the attackers were forced to retreat, vanishing into the shadows from which they had emerged. The station's alarm slowly faded, and Mara allowed herself a moment to breathe. Lyra stood beside her, calm and composed once more, though a faint shimmer of exhaustion lingered around her. "You were impressive," Lyra said quietly. "I had underestimated your kind." Mara shook her head, smiling despite the adrenaline still coursing through her veins. "Don't underestimate yourself either. That was more than impressive, you just nearly flattened a group of highly trained warriors." Lyra laughed softly, a sound that seemed to carry a warmth Mara had not expected from an alien royal. "Perhaps together, we are stronger than either of our kinds alone." Mara's communicator beeped. Commander Ryland's voice came through, tension clear in his tone. "Captain Ellis, status report." "Are you secure?" Mara nodded. "Secure for now. Lyra's safe, but I suspect this was only a test. Whoever sent them will not stop here. We need to move quickly to Aurelia Prime." Lyra's eyes softened with understanding. "Then we must prepare. They will not give us a moment of peace, but with you by my side I feel capable of more than I have ever imagined." As the shuttle lifted off the station, leaving behind the blinking lights and lingering shadows of Alindra, Mara reflected on the day's events. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers beyond imagination. Yet she felt a surge of pride. Humanity was still small in comparison to alien empires, but their ingenuity, bravery, and unpredictability made them a force to be reckoned with. They were not just survivors, they were innovators, protectors, and sometimes heroes. Lyra sat beside Mara, gazing out at the stars. "Captain, tell me about your kind. Why do humans fight so fiercely when so many others would surrender?" Mara smiled. "We fight because we have to, and because we want to protect what we love. We don't always have the strongest weapons or the fastest ships, but we have something others often forget: our determination. We don't give up." Lyra nodded slowly, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "Then perhaps I have chosen wisely." The Odyssey surged forward into the void, carrying both human and alien hope together. Ahead lay unknown dangers, rival factions, and challenges that neither Mara nor Lyra could fully foresee. Yet in that moment, as the stars stretched endlessly before them, both knew one thing with certainty: humanity had a place among the stars, and together they could face anything. And somewhere deep in the darkness of space, a silent watcher observed their journey, a shadow of movement hinting that the adventure was far from over. The galaxy was waking to the return of the alien queen's daughter, and with her, a human protector who would prove that courage, intelligence, and determination could stand against even the greatest threats. The shuttle descended slowly toward Aurelia Prime, its sleek surface glinting against the planet's twin suns. Below, the city sprawled like a tapestry of human achievement and alien heritage. Towers of glass and metal reached skyward, their edges glowing with energy conduits, while ancient ruins intertwined among them told stories of civilizations long past. Humans had built much of the city, yet the design included elements that honored alien cultures who had long been allies. This blend of the old and the new reflected humanity itself, adaptable, resilient, and capable of learning from the galaxy around them. Captain Mara Ellis watched the approach carefully, her hands gripping the edge of the shuttle's console. Beside her, Lyra remained calm, her silver hair catching the sunlight as it fell across her shoulders. Her eyes scanned the city with quiet intensity, as if she were measuring every movement, every structure, every person. "They've built this city well," Lyra said softly, almost to herself. "It will be a suitable place to plan our next move." Mara glanced at her. "Yes. Aurelia Prime is strong, but even here we must remain vigilant. Whoever sent those attackers at Alindra won't stop easily. They will come again and likely with more force." Lyra nodded. "I understand. That is why I chose a human protector. Your kind is clever in ways that my people often are not. You see solutions where others see only obstacles." The shuttle touched down gently on the landing platform, and the ramp lowered with a hiss. Security personnel and diplomats awaited them, but Mara could sense the tension in the air. The return of the alien queen's daughter had not gone unnoticed, and many eyes watched their every move. Once on solid ground, Mara and Lyra made their way through the bustling streets toward the central command hub. Humans and aliens alike moved with purpose, but many stole glances at Lyra, whispering in awe. Even here, far from her homeworld, her presence commanded respect. Mara noted the subtle ways the people reacted, some with curiosity, some with fear, and others with admiration. It was a reminder of the delicate balance she had to maintain as Lyra's protector. Inside the command hub, Mara was introduced to the human and alien leaders responsible for coordinating security. The room buzzed with activity, holographic displays showing fleet positions, planetary defenses, and intelligence reports. Lyra moved gracefully through the hub, her attention focused on the screens, her mind absorbing information at a rate that impressed even the most experienced human analysts. "You have returned at a critical time," one of the alien council members said, his voice echoing in the chamber. "A shadow faction within your people seeks to destabilize the region. If they succeed, countless lives could be lost." Lyra's expression remained composed, but her eyes darkened slightly. "I know, that is why I came back. I have information that can prevent war, if humanity and my people can work together." Mara placed a hand lightly on Lyra's shoulder. "Then let's get to work. We'll make sure your knowledge reaches the right hands." For hours, Mara and Lyra moved between briefings, strategy sessions, and reconnaissance updates. Mara observed Lyra closely. The alien princess was intelligent, disciplined, and brave, yet there were moments when her gaze betrayed concern. She was not only navigating political intrigue but also facing enemies who would not hesitate to use violence to achieve their goals. As night fell over Aurelia Prime, Mara and Lyra retreated to a secure training area within the hub. Lyra's energy, though powerful, needed focus and control, and Mara had insisted on learning how to assist her in using it effectively. It was not just about defense, it was about survival, and about understanding the unique way human ingenuity could complement alien power. Lyra demonstrated her abilities first, raising her hands and generating a wave of energy that shimmered like liquid light. Mara observed, noting how Lyra's concentration directed the force precisely, but how even minor distractions caused it to ripple unpredictably. Mara stepped forward, offering practical suggestions. "If you channel it along a path rather than holding it in one place, you can control the spread more efficiently," Mara said. "Also, using obstacles in the environment can guide your energy to where it's most effective." Lyra considered this, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Your suggestions are insightful. Humans think differently. You see patterns in the chaos." Mara smiled faintly. "It's what we do, we adapt. That's why we survive in the galaxy." Together they practiced, combining human tactics with alien power. Mara's strategic mind and quick reflexes allowed them to anticipate attacks and counter them in ways neither could have done alone. Lyra began to see the value of relying on someone else's perspective, while Mara recognized the incredible advantage of having a partner whose abilities could deflect, repel, and neutralize threats at a scale beyond human capability. Their training was interrupted by a sudden alert. Sensors detected multiple unknown vessels approaching Aurelia Prime at high speed. Mara's heart tightened. "They're here," she said. "And they're coming fast." Lyra's eyes glowed faintly as she focused. "It seems the Shadow faction wasted no time. They will not rest until they have what they want." Mara led Lyra to the observation deck where holographic displays showed the incoming ships. They were unlike any standard military vessels. Sleek, agile, and armed with energy weapons capable of devastating city defenses, they moved with precision and purpose. Mara understood immediately this was not a random attack. It was a coordinated strike designed to capture Lyra and eliminate anyone who could protect her. "Prepare the city defenses," Mara ordered. "Alert the fleet. We will not allow them to land." The battle began almost immediately. Energy beams lit the sky as the city's automated turrets engaged the enemy ships. Lyra moved beside Mara, her hands weaving patterns that created barriers and deflected incoming attacks. Mara directed human and alien forces alike, her mind calculating trajectories, weak points, and potential strategies. Together, they became a formidable force. Despite the ferocity of the attackers, humans adapted quickly. They used unconventional tactics, decoy ships, rapid maneuvers, and coordinated flanking movements that alien commanders often overlooked. Mara's strategy relied on unpredictability, a trait that had allowed humans to survive countless encounters against stronger and more technologically advanced enemies. Lyra was impressed. "Your kind's ingenuity. It is unlike anything I have seen. You do not rely solely on power. You rely on wit, on timing, on courage." Mara glanced at her. "That's how we survive. Strength is important, but intelligence and teamwork are what make us unbeatable." The battle raged for hours, neither side gaining a decisive advantage. The city shook as energy blasts struck the streets, and civilian shelters activated protective shields. Mara coordinated evacuation efforts while simultaneously directing counterattacks. It was chaos, but within it, humanity's resilience shone. At a critical moment, Lyra's powers surged unpredictably, creating a massive energy wave that disabled several enemy ships. The display of raw alien ability was awe-inspiring, yet it also carried risk. Mara quickly assessed the situation, directing civilians away from the affected areas and using remaining defenses to contain collateral damage. Finally, the attackers retreated, their ships fleeing as quickly as they had come. Aurelia Prime had survived the assault, but the cost was clear. Damage was everywhere, and the city's residents were shaken, yet unharmed thanks to the combined efforts of humans and Lyra. As silence returned, Mara allowed herself a brief moment to breathe. Lyra turned to her, a mixture of admiration and relief on her face. "You were extraordinary. Without your guidance, the city would have suffered greatly. Your courage. It is inspiring." Mara shook her head. "It's what humans do. We fight for what we care about. We adapt, we survive, and we protect. That's how we make a difference." Lyra smiled faintly, a rare display of warmth. "Then perhaps this alliance was meant to be. Together we can accomplish what neither of our kinds could alone." Mara looked out at the city, the lights flickering in the aftermath of battle. She knew this was only the beginning. The Shadow faction would not give up easily, and the galaxy was full of dangers waiting in the darkness. Yet in that moment she felt a surge of pride and determination. Humanity had proven its worth not just as survivors but as partners, capable of standing alongside the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Lyra's voice broke the silence. "Captain, tell me more about your people. Why do humans continue to fight when the odds are against them?" Mara smiled faintly, recalling countless battles, countless moments of loss and triumph. "We fight because we must and because we believe in protecting life and freedom. We may not always be the strongest, but we are clever, persistent, and brave. We adapt to survive and to thrive." Lyra nodded, her gaze distant yet thoughtful. "Then I have chosen wisely. You are a protector not only of me, but of the values I wish to uphold. With you, hope endures." As night fell fully over Aurelia Prime, Mara and Lyra stood side by side, looking toward the stars. They knew the road ahead would be dangerous, filled with battles, betrayals, and discoveries. Yet together, they had proven that courage, intelligence, and determination could change the course of events, no matter how insurmountable the odds. Somewhere far beyond the planet, in the shadowy reaches of space, observers watched. A flicker of movement, a subtle signal, a quiet. The destruction of Aurelia Prime's outskirts was still fresh in the minds of its citizens, and the air was thick with tension. Mara Ellis walked swiftly through the city streets, her mind racing with plans. The Shadow faction that had attacked so suddenly was not just dangerous. They were organized, ruthless, and determined to capture Lyra. The city's defenses had held, but Mara knew this was only a temporary victory. Every second they delayed gave the enemy time to regroup and strike again. Lyra moved beside her, her silver hair catching the faint glow of damaged streetlights. Despite the recent battle, she remained calm, her eyes scanning the horizon. The energy she had used to protect the city still lingered faintly around her, a soft shimmer of light that reminded everyone of the power she carried. "We need a new plan," Mara said quietly. "We can't just wait for them to come to us. They'll keep attacking until they get what they want. We need to strike first, but carefully. We can't risk the city." Lyra nodded, her expression serious. "I agree. We must be precise. Their fleet is fast, their attacks coordinated, and their technology advanced. But they underestimate one thing: the unpredictability of humans." Mara allowed herself a small smile. "Exactly. That's why we can win." The two made their way to a hidden rebel base just outside the city, a network of tunnels and chambers that had been used in previous conflicts. Here, human engineers and alien allies worked side by side, repairing damaged vehicles, constructing new defenses, and analyzing intelligence gathered from recent attacks. Mara and Lyra entered the command center, where holographic maps displayed the positions of enemy ships and troop movements. "This is our opportunity," Mara said, pointing at the projections. "They have a main flagship controlling their fleet. If we disable it, the rest will be disorganized. But it's heavily guarded. We'll need a strike team." Lyra's eyes lit up. "I can assist, but I cannot do it alone. My powers are strong, but they are not enough to overcome their entire fleet. I will need your humans, your strategies, your adaptability." Mara nodded. "Then we do it together. Humans can improvise, adapt, and react in ways no one expects. Your power is incredible, but we'll make it even more effective when combined with human ingenuity." The team was assembled quickly: skilled human soldiers, experienced alien allies, engineers, and strategists. Each member was briefed carefully, emphasizing the importance of stealth, coordination, and adaptability. Mara gave clear instructions, but she also encouraged initiative. "No plan survives contact with the enemy unchanged," she reminded them. "Adapt, think fast, and trust each other." As night fell, the team boarded sleek modified assault ships designed for speed and agility. Mara's mind worked constantly, calculating trajectories, escape routes, and contingencies. Lyra floated slightly above the ground, her hands glowing with energy as she prepared for the mission. The journey through space was tense. Every sensor ping could indicate enemy ships lying in wait, and every shadow in the void could hide a threat. Mara glanced at Lyra. "Are you ready for this?" Lyra's gaze was steady. "I have trained for this, and I trust you, Captain. Together we can overcome any obstacle." The enemy flagship appeared on the sensors like a shadow against the stars, massive and foreboding. Its hull was reinforced with unknown alloys, and energy shields pulsed with formidable strength. Mara took a deep breath. "Remember, the moment we approach, they will expect us to attack directly. That is when we will be unpredictable. We strike from angles they cannot predict." The team moved into position using asteroid fields and debris as cover. Mara coordinated movements carefully, guiding her soldiers to exploit blind spots in enemy scans. Lyra's energy flared, creating bursts of light that temporarily blinded enemy sensors, allowing the human strike teams to maneuver unseen. Inside the flagship, alarms blared. The enemy commanders shouted orders, but the humans had anticipated their every move. Mara's team struck with precision, disabling key systems while avoiding direct confrontations. Lyra's power amplified the effects, creating controlled energy waves that shut down weapons and communications. It was a coordinated ballet of alien power and human strategy, each complementing the other perfectly. They reached the central control room, where the Shadow Faction's leader awaited. His presence was imposing, a mixture of authority and raw power. He froze for a moment, recognition flickering in his eyes as he saw Lyra. "You," he said, voice tight with anger and disbelief. "You survived." Lyra's expression did not change, but her eyes hardened. "I am here to stop you." Mara stepped forward, placing herself beside Lyra. "We work together. You underestimated humans, and that mistake will cost you." The confrontation escalated quickly. The leader activated a device that sent waves of energy throughout the ship, attempting to disable both Lyra's powers and the human team's technology. Mara's quick thinking saved them. She ordered her soldiers to use the ship's own systems as shields while Lyra redirected the energy, containing it safely. The combination of human tactics and alien power was unexpected, even for the seasoned enemy commander. The battle turned in their favor as they disabled key systems one by one. Mara and Lyra moved through the control room with precision, neutralizing threats and guiding their team to success. Humans improvised, using objects in the environment to block paths, create diversions, and protect their allies. Lyra's energy provided both offense and defense, but it was Mara's decisions, her rapid analysis, and her ability to adapt that ensured their survival. Finally, the enemy's ultimate weapon, a device capable of controlling entire populations, was within reach. The Shadow faction leader moved to activate it, but Lyra intervened, her hands glowing with concentrated energy. "I will not let you harm innocents," she said firmly. Mara shouted, "Focus your power. Use the sequence we practiced." Lyra's energy pulsed, synchronized with Mara's commands. Together, they disabled the device, rendering it inert. The flagship shuddered as systems shut down, leaving the Shadow faction disoriented and vulnerable. Humans pressed their advantage, using clever tactics to secure the remaining areas. The leader, realizing defeat was inevitable, confronted them personally. "Lyra, you were my sister," he said, his voice heavy with conflicting emotions. "I cannot believe it has come to this." Lyra's expression softened, but determination remained. "You chose this path. I choose protection, not conquest. It ends here." The confrontation was intense but brief. Mara's strategies and Lyra's powers combined to subdue him without unnecessary violence. Humanity had once again proven that courage, intelligence, and quick thinking could overcome raw strength and aggression. The Shadow faction's control was broken, their plans foiled, and Aurelia Prime was safe. As the flagship drifted disabled in space, Mara and Lyra surveyed the scene. The humans had adapted to alien technology, anticipated enemy tactics, and acted with creativity and courage. Lyra looked at Mara with admiration. "Your people. They are remarkable. I understand now why I chose a human protector. Your kind is clever, brave, and resourceful. You are not just survivors, you are heroes." Mara shook her head, smiling faintly. "We don't see ourselves that way. We just do what is necessary. But today, we made a difference." Lyra's eyes sparkled with a mixture of relief and respect. "Together, we are stronger than I imagined. Perhaps this is only the beginning." Mara glanced at the horizon where the stars stretched endlessly. She knew Lyra was right. The galaxy was vast and threats were never-ending. Yet in that moment, humans had proven their value, not through sheer power but through intelligence, courage, and adaptability. They were equals in a universe filled with wonders and dangers, and they had earned their place among the stars. As the team prepared to return to Aurelia Prime, Mara reflected on what they had achieved. Humanity's role was no longer minor or incidental. They were active participants in shaping the future of the galaxy. Lyra's trust in them had been justified, and her powers, combined with human strategy, had created a force no enemy could easily defeat. Lyra spoke softly as they left the flagship behind. "Captain, do you think there will be more challenges ahead?" Mara looked at her with a determined gaze. "There always will be. But with humans and aliens working together, we can face anything. Strategy, courage, and ingenuity are more powerful than you realize." Lyra nodded, a quiet confidence settling over her. "Then I am ready. Together we will protect what matters." And as the ships returned to Aurelia Prime, the stars stretched endlessly above them, shining as if acknowledging the alliance forged in courage and intelligence. Humanity had not only survived, they had proven they could shape the galaxy's future. The Shadow faction had been defeated, but Mara knew this was only one battle in an ongoing struggle. Yet she also knew one undeniable truth. Wherever humans were present, hope, ingenuity, and courage would follow. The galaxy had seen the strength of the human spirit, and Lyra's return, combined with a human protector's ingenuity, had changed the balance of power forever. The rebuilt city of Aurelia Prime sparkled under twin suns, a testament to human resilience and determination. Repairs were underway, with citizens and engineers working side by side, restoring homes, streets, and public spaces damaged in the recent attacks. Yet beneath the calm surface, tension lingered. The Shadow faction was still out there, scattered but unbroken. Mara Ellis knew they could strike again at any moment. and the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. In the command center, Mara reviewed reports alongside Lyra. Holographic displays showed the last remnants of the enemy fleet fleeing into distant sectors, but intelligence hinted that the Shadow faction's true leader remained at large. This leader, Lyra's own brother, had been the mastermind behind the attacks, and he was more dangerous than any opponent they had faced so far. Lyra's eyes darkened as she stared at the data. "He is clever, ruthless, and loyal only to power," she said quietly. "I cannot allow him to continue. If I confront him alone, I may fail. But with you, Captain, we stand a chance." Mara nodded, determination hardening her features. "We've come this far. Humans have adapted, fought, and survived challenges that would have defeated others. Together, we can end this." Preparations began immediately. Mara's team, composed of elite human soldiers, engineers, and a small contingent of alien allies, readied ships and weapons. Lyra focused on honing her powers, meditating and practicing the controlled bursts of energy that had been so effective against the Shadow faction. Every detail mattered. Humans and Lyra worked together, refining strategies, creating contingencies, and running simulations. When night fell, the ships lifted off, leaving Aurelia Prime behind. The team moved swiftly through space, their course set for the sector where the Shadow faction's leader had been tracked. Mara kept communication lines open with city defenses, ensuring that Aurelia Prime would remain protected should anything go wrong. The enemy flagship loomed ahead like a dark specter, its energy shields glowing with a formidable intensity. Mara studied the readings carefully. "They're expecting a direct assault," she said. "We won't give them that. We'll strike where they least expect it." Lyra nodded, her hands glowing faintly. "Then we will be the unpredictability they cannot counter." The assault began with precision. Using asteroid fields as cover, human strike teams maneuvered around the flagship, launching decoys and disabling minor defenses. Mara coordinated every movement, anticipating the enemy's counterattacks. Lyra's power surged, creating controlled energy waves that disabled weapon systems and scrambled sensors. Every move was calculated yet adaptive, a balance of strategy and spontaneity that defined human ingenuity. Inside the flagship, alarms blared. The Shadow faction leader, tall and imposing, moved swiftly through the corridors, his eyes fixed on Lyra. "You think you can stop me, sister?" he demanded, voice filled with anger and disbelief. "I have planned for this moment. The galaxy will bow to my will." Lyra stepped forward, energy shimmering around her like liquid light. "Not while I am alive. Not while humans and allies stand with me. Your time ends here." Mara and her team moved through the ship's corridors, neutralizing guards and disabling systems with a combination of quick thinking, human creativity, and precise execution. Each human move complemented Lyra's alien power, creating a rhythm of action that the enemy could not predict. Barricades became traps, corridors became pathways of advantage, and the element of surprise worked in their favor at every turn. The final confrontation approached. In the central chamber, the leader waited, controlling a massive energy device capable of destabilizing entire planets. He activated it, sending waves of destructive energy toward Mara and Lyra. Mara's mind raced. She shouted instructions to her team while calculating angles and shields to protect both the humans and Lyra. Lyra raised her hands, focusing her power into a concentrated shield. The energy from the device collided with her barrier, sending shockwaves throughout the chamber. Mara and her team used the vibrations to their advantage, moving strategically to disable the device's core components. It was a delicate balance. One wrong move could destroy the chamber or unleash the weapon's full potential. "Now, Lyra," Mara shouted. "Channel it through the device's core. Focus on disrupting the control matrix." Lyra's eyes glowed brightly, her hands tracing precise patterns as energy surged through her. Mara and the human team acted in unison, guiding and reinforcing her power. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the chamber shook violently. But the combined efforts worked. The weapon's energy flickered, sputtered, and finally collapsed, leaving the device inert. The Shadow faction leader roared in frustration. "Impossible!" he shouted, advancing toward them with a weapon drawn. Mara stepped forward, her stance calm but unyielding. "It's not impossible. It's human determination, strategy, and courage combined with what you cannot understand, loyalty, teamwork, and the will to protect." Lyra's energy flared, forming a barrier that forced the leader to pause. He hesitated, seeing both his sister and the humans who had aided her stand strong and unwavering. You cannot win," he spat. Lyra's voice was steady, carrying both authority and compassion. "I am not here to destroy you. I am here to stop the destruction. It is not too late to choose a different path." For a long moment he froze, torn between ambition and the bond he once shared with Lyra. Mara saw the hesitation and seized it, moving forward with a clear, commanding presence. "It's over. Lay down your weapons. Let us end this without further loss of life." The leader lowered his weapon, his anger giving way to realization. He was beaten not by sheer power, but by intelligence, courage, and moral strength, qualities that humans and Lyra had demonstrated perfectly. Lyra stepped closer, her silver hair shimmering. "We can rebuild. We can prevent more suffering. But only if we choose cooperation over conquest." The final battle concluded without further bloodshed. The remaining Shadow faction forces surrendered, their leadership incapacitated, and the galaxy's immediate threat neutralized. Humans had once again shown that ingenuity, courage, and adaptability could overcome even the most formidable adversaries. Lyra's trust in humanity had been justified. As the ships returned to Aurelia Prime, the city below shone like a beacon. Its citizens had endured fear and destruction, yet they rebuilt with resilience and hope. Mara and Lyra stood on the observation deck looking down at the city and feeling a quiet sense of accomplishment. "You have proven your people are more than capable," Lyra said softly. "Humans are not just survivors. You are heroes, innovators, and protectors. I am honored to stand with you." Mara smiled faintly. "We just do what we must. But together, we can accomplish more than either of us could alone." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Then we will continue together. Humans and my people side by side. The galaxy will see that cooperation and courage are stronger than fear and tyranny." Mara nodded. "And whatever challenges come next, we will face them. With strategy, courage, and ingenuity, we can overcome anything." As the sun rose over Aurelia Prime, casting golden light across the city, a sense of hope spread through the streets. Humans and aliens alike looked to the future, aware of the dangers that still lurked in the galaxy, yet inspired by the courage and determination they had witnessed. Somewhere beyond the horizon, distant stars twinkled, silent witnesses to the alliance formed in battle. The Shadow faction was defeated, but the galaxy was vast, full of new adventures, discoveries, and challenges. Humanity had proven its value not just as explorers or fighters, but as protectors, innovators, and leaders capable of shaping the future. Lyra placed a hand on Mara's shoulder, her expression gentle but determined. "Captain, you have not only protected me, you have shown the galaxy the true strength of humanity. I will stand with you now and always." Mara returned the gesture with a firm nod. "And I will stand with you. Together we face the galaxy. Together we protect life, hope, and the future." The alliance between humans and Lyra's people was solidified. Aurelia Prime would continue to thrive, a symbol of cooperation, courage, and the unstoppable spirit of humanity. The Shadow faction may have sought to divide, to conquer, to dominate, but they had underestimated one essential truth. Humans never give up. They adapt, they fight, and they inspire. The galaxy had witnessed the return of the alien queen's daughter and the power of a human protector. The stars stretched endlessly above, filled with the promise of new beginnings, new adventures, and the certainty that wherever humans were present, hope, ingenuity, and in the quiet of the observation deck, Mara and Lyra looked out at the infinite expanse, knowing that this victory was only one chapter in a story far larger than either of them. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries and threats, yet together, they had proven that no challenge was too great, no enemy too strong, and no darkness too deep. Humanity had risen once more not by strength alone, but by the brilliance of the mind, the courage of the heart, and the unwavering determination to protect what mattered most. And somewhere, far in the shadows of distant space, a faint signal flickered, silent, mysterious, and unseen. It was a reminder that the galaxy was not done testing its protectors, but Mara and Lyra were ready. Together, humans and the alien queen's daughter would meet whatever came next with ingenuity, courage, and the unbreakable spirit that had always defined them.